Hello, my name is Joan Castro, and I'm going to be talking about why it's important to innovate responsibly. So my argument. Technological innovation is important and necessary, but must be done responsibly or else it could damage society. What's technology and why it's important? Technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. And I'm going to be going over why it's important and how it's had positive effects on society, so therefore it's important to keep innovating. Some of the points I'm going to be going over is how it has improved economy, education, and medicine. So how it's helped economy. So there seems to be a clear link between technology and a country's economic prosperity. A study shows that 120 nations show that a 10% increase in broadband penetration resulted in an increase of 1.3% of a country's gross domestic product. So technology helps countries be able to industrialize and innovate, which helps them produce more products that can go and be sold to consumers. So in that way, it really helps kind of jumpstart a country that otherwise isn't doing very well. So it's important to continue to innovate. Education. So technology has had an impact on education in different ways. One way is that it helps teachers be able to present information visually, either through videos or images, which really help captivate students better. PBS surveyed teachers, and 74% of them responded that using classroom technology motivates students to learn. So clearly, technology really captivates students and helps them kind of pay attention more in class and takes a classroom outside of the classroom in a sense, because you're able to research things that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to research in a classroom. Also, technology helps kids learn at their own pace to kind of go over material that they might have missed in class or things of that sort. And technology opens up a lot of resources so that you can continue to, if you have like a test and there's stuff that you really didn't understand in class, you can continue to learn. So medical. So technology has had a great impact on medicine because it's really increased the quality of life and being able to combat diseases and illnesses, like medicine that's able to fight that and stuff like that. And it's helped doctors be able to monitor different things like body temperature, oxygen concentration in the blood, glucose, brain activity, and things of that sort. And we really wouldn't have had that type of information without technology. And because of that, doctors are able to better diagnose patients and treat whatever they have. So it's important to continue to innovate because there's still a lot of diseases and illnesses that we haven't really been able to combat, and some new technologies that are emerging that seem to be have good prospects are 3D organ printing, which really is exactly how it sounds like. It's just a 3D printer being able to print organs and things like that, and synthetic blood, being able to get a stem cell and kind of change it to your blood type and be able to help like that, and augmented reality, which would help surgeons be able to map out the body and better operate on you. So why it's important to innovate responsibly? I'm going to be going over the kind of the bad things of technology and why there's like risks that go into it. So impact on kids. So more than a third of children under the age of 2 use mobile media. So technology is very present in youth and children. So kids from very young age are looking at screens for many hours, which is proven to be harmful for them. It causes them to not be able to remember things as much, and really doesn't help their imagination, and which impedes them from being able to do some deep thinking. So we need to be wary of that and cautious. So our privacy. A lot of adults have phones and things of that sort, and as humans, when we interact with technology, we put a lot of our information out there, we put our faces out there, the things we like, which really opens up ourselves to invasion of privacy, especially from companies that try to sell you things. They look at the stuff that you like, and that can really be bad. And we were talking, and the extrasensory perception article from the stimulus packet, it talked about extrasensory and how we take information and how that affects how we perceive things and things of that sort. And the problem with that is that it really opens yourself up from your privacy being invaded, because there's this movement of information and somebody can hack into that, or as I talked about before, companies can kind of take over that and use that to their advantage. So job loss, which is a big one. So technology can have really bad effect on jobs, and they can like take over like automation, which really means it means technology that like robots that make products, and that creates a lot of job loss. More than a third of U.S. jobs could be at high risk of automation by the early 2030. And one example of that already happening is the one in China, where a factory replaced 90% of its employees for robots. So a solution for this. A solution would be to look at Europe's model and what they've done to responsibly innovate. They funded the Horizon 2020 framework program of the European Union, which really helps interact the public with inventors and kind of make sure that the innovations that are being produced are is good and friendly for the public. And lastly, limitations are that some technologies might be used for different purposes than what they're meant for. An example of this would be Joseph Wilbrand, who discovered trinitrotoluene, which is what makes TNT, but originally it was just a dye that was used to dye clothes and stuff like that. But it's used as CNT, which killed a lot of people in World War I and World War II. And those are my sources, and yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions, Sean. Okay. So, how did you select the strategies you use to gather information and conduct your research?
Well, I really wanted to focus on first looking at how technology impacted society over time, and I kind of went over that in my presentation, how before doctors didn't really have some of the resources they had now to be able to treat patients better. And based on that, I made a conclusion that innovation is important and is necessary, but it also needs to be done correctly, or it could hurt just our society and, like I said, job.
Okay, so if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to the issue?
I think I would have further looked at different like new technologies. I think I would have looked at different things that are going on. Like there's some technology with nanotechnology, which I thought was really interesting, that doctors use to kind of like diagnose patients better, and kind of I would have put that in my slide more and talk about how new technologies could help, and also how new technologies could be bad. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Joanne.